Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So Harvest 2020 is a go.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading.
Alright, so harvest is well and truly on the way. We've got two fields cut. First field, which is in Dundalk, averaged just under 3.9 tonnes to the acre. So very happy with that. It's yielded very well. It's actually the best it's ever yielded. So the application of the manure, the liquid nitrogen, worked well on that field, and the slurry as well, by the way. That worked well. This field here didn't just do as well. This didn't get any the chicken manure, but it did get the slurry and liquid nitrogen. But it still didn't do too bad. It done almost 3.4 tonnes to the acre. So we're not complaining too much about it. This was part of the land that we rented late last year. We hadn't got it early enough that we could have applied the chicken dung on it. So yeah, we had to. There was also a lot of grass growing on it that had to be all burnt off, and a couple of wee things like that would have just affected the yield a little bit. So yeah, we'll work on it for next year and we'll get the yield a bit better. Over the far side, there was a whole area over the far side where it was quite light, and that's the main point where the yield was affected. It didn't yield that well. So we know we've had a mark now. We know where the area is that we need to work most on, so we can put a little bit extra manure on that, a little bit extra fertilizer, and try to help push that part of the field on a little bit better. But overall, not too bad. Good crop of straw on it as well, and yeah, we can work on getting that all built up over the next few days. Yeah, I've been mostly drawing the grain over the last few days. Haven't really been in the field that much, but I have got a little bit of footage and I will put it up as the video goes on. I've been using, a friend of ours gave us a loan of this cane, it's a cane half pipe trailer, steering axle, air brakes on it, and it's a fine trailer. Holds, it's an 18 tonne, but it holds like 19 and a half tonne of grain. So yeah, nice trailer, and yeah, there's a good load of grain on it now at the minute. So I'd imagine it's over around the 19 or tonne, or a little bit over 19 tonne. 6.9 knows it's on it, but yeah, it's well fit for it. And the air brakes just stopping the length of itself. So air brakes, fantastic job on the trailers. So I'm going to go get this tipped, and yeah, we'll see. I have a bit of baling and straw to do. I might get a bit of footage of that, and we've some combine and footage and lots of different stuff. So okay, so harvest well and truly on the way, as I mentioned, and a little bit of footage here of the combine in action. So an exciting time of the year, and a nervous time of the year too, because especially this year, you know, we've a lot of inputs in it and a lot of costs again. And so you're hoping that you've done a good enough job to produce a good yield. You know, it's 9-10 months work really at this point since you've ploughed it and sown your crop, and you've been spraying and fertilising it, and hoping upon hope that nature has been kind to you as well, and that you've had you know, rain when you need it and sunshine when you need it, and that all those things, you know, there's a lot of different factors comes into play, and that all has kind of half went in your favour, and that you have a good yield out of it. So that leaves it a nervous time of the year, but it's a fun time of the year. It's especially if you like working at, you know, crops and tillage and, you know, a bit of machinery work and all that. It is a good time of the year. So yeah, we'll see how it all does. 3650 was certainly one of the front running tractors on the team. Done some stellar work over the last number of days. It's been drawing grain, and yeah, nice little throwback. Back in the day when I was like 12 and dreamt of owning a 3650, this is one of the jobs that I always wanted to do with it. Draw grain. That was it. Just and to see it doing this kind of work was fantastic. It was it's what they were built for, you know, it's what they were built for. But yeah, it's doing a great job, and no problem at all pulling this here. There's like over 12 tonne in this trailer, and easy picking. Dad is here driving quite slow, but he's probably doing something illegal, like talking on the phone whilst driving. So not that we're not sure of that, but I'd hazard a guess that that's probably what's going on. But yeah, And it done a couple of runs up to, we were drawing it up to a grain store on the RD Road, which is a nice little round trip. It's about 30 minutes, I'd say, in the tractor up and 30 minutes back in the 6.9, so it's probably about 40 minutes in the 3650, and it must have done 3 or 4 of those runs up, and yeah, no issues. It was great to have it, seeing as we were kind of a tractor down this year since getting rid of the 6.4. But back to the combine, usual man Brendan Murphy is in cutting for us. Brendan cuts our barley every year unless something happens and he's busy or can't get to us, but more or less every year he cuts our barley and does a good job on it. Tries to facilitate us any way that he can, which we always appreciate. Alright, so we're just finished baling this field, all finished, great job. 2 bales of straw, 1 not chopped, 1 chopped. So, you can see looking at it, all long lengths of straw here, pull them out. Yeah, like basically it's your full piece of straw, the full plant barley from where it was cut. Cut on this side by the combine, right the whole way up to this side here where the head was taken off it. So that's basically your length of straw non-chopped. Whereas if we just take a handful, probably the handiest, just take a handful out and we can just inspect it. You know, it's about half the length, maybe a little bit less than that. Some of the pieces actually even less than that. You do get, see, one longer piece here, so you'll probably still get an odd piece that'll come through full length, but overall they are roughly about half to a third the length when it's chopped. So yeah, a little bit of chopping. Why do people want it chopped? I suppose a couple of reasons. If you're feeding it to cows, a bit easier for the cows to take it in. Also, if your cows are on slats or in a bedded area, which they're going to be, the fact that it's in these smaller pieces or mouthfuls, they'll not be inclined maybe to pull a whole lump in with them and end up standing on it. So it'd be less wastage, especially on slats. You don't want straw on slats, that's to block them up and stuff. Put it in a diet feeder, great to have it chopped. Smaller lengths, you're not relying on the diet feeder to chop it. Not all feeders chop straw well, so yeah, to have it chopped is definitely a plus for that. Bedding as well, you know, if you open this bale, it'll fall apart easier and it'll be easier to shake out on their animals. So a couple of little reasons why people want it chopped. Don't always chop it. Some people ask for it chopped, but yeah, if you don't ask for it, you don't get it. It probably will be a little bit more expensive to chop it. The tractor uses more diesel. The fuel usage went up. I suppose we have 3-4 litres an hour. It's not that much, but still a little bit. And it's, you know, it'll be a little bit harder on the baler. You're using the knives. Straw tends to have stones coming in. Maybe sometimes you could have a stone coming in the straw, so you could damage a knife. So you have to allow for those things happening. So it probably will be a little bit more expensive to get it chopped in most cases, but something that can be done. So yeah, John Deere baler worked well. First time I'd used it on straw, but no issues. Some of the older John Deere balers did have issues with bales not spinning in the chamber and stuff like that. They were really designed for straw. The belt balers is the king when it comes to straw, but no issues at all. They did change the design on, even on this baler here, the new one. This is a the 440. The 441 actually has an extra roller in it. This one doesn't have the extra roll up, but they did change the design on the rollers is a little bit different. They've got little grooves on them, and yeah, it just seems to grip the straw fairly well. So very happy with how it worked today. So we'll be baling some more round bales. We have square bales to make and big square bales, so there's a kind of a mix of all bales of straw, and yeah, get some footage of all that as the week goes on. So that's it for this field. On to the next field, see what's going on next. Okay, here we are back in the field now where the cutting is taking place. It's probably close to 2 hours later. It's about it's probably coming up to 10 o'clock or so, and we're just finishing off a trailer, the large cane trailer, just filling it up so that I could go and tip it in the morning time. Moisture was still very good. It was coming in at around 16.5%, so ideal. So just cut away. There was a couple of places in this field that the barley had lay over a little bit, but not too bad. Combine had no issues getting under it and cutting it, so there wasn't any losses really to talk about. Nice chance to get a little bit of footage of the combine walking here at night time. So yeah, some views of that happening. Lots of lights lit up on it, and it's just a little bit different looking at it at night. But yeah, the yield was very, very good on this particular field. A nice view here looking down, and you can see the light was on in the bin, and you can see all the grain coming in there, and I just thought it was a nice little view. So I took a wee bit of footage of that just as I was kind of flying over the top here. So yeah, this was the final part of the cutting for that day. We just finished off down to where the trailer was, and it was just a case then of emptying into the trailer itself once we got down the bottom of the field. So I'll add a little bit of music on here, and we'll come back then later in the video.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on
Okay, so Thursday evening now, trying to knock out as many of the bales here as we can. Trying to get as many round bales done as possible, because tomorrow Friday we have some rain due to come in the evening time. May not come till, with us it may not come until maybe 7, 8, 9 o'clock, but yeah, we just want to have as many bales done as possible today, so that we can get the rest of them done, baled up tomorrow before the rain comes. We're not going to cut everything now on this round. It's going to be just under 30 acres left in one other plot of land, and we're going to leave that till next week until the rain passes. It's not going to be massive amounts of rain, some rain due over the weekend and maybe in the very early couple of days of next week. So yeah, that's it. We're going to let it sit for a few more days. It'll take no hurt. At least if it stays dry until tomorrow evening, we will have everything that's cut baled. And yeah, we'll be quite happy with that. We don't want to get them wet. We don't want to go into the whole thing of turning the straw. Baler's working very well. We have knocked out in this field here. We've knocked out, we'll see now that actually so far, there we go, 196 bales so far in this field, and Dad is baling away with the 12-12. And I think last count he had about 700 bales done, so he's going to try and bale maybe around 1,000 or maybe a little bit more than that, and try and get some of our bales in on this run. We'll get the rest of them then next week, and we've got the last bit of winter barley. So yeah, that's it, going well. Big rows of straw, which, yeah, good job. Just means it's fairly easy to make the bale. You're not having to weave over and back on the row, and just a little thing that we have on the baler, small light, you'll see it back there. You can just see what's happening with the net. Very useful now at night. See it once I turn it off, it's dark in there, you can't see what's happening with the net. So it's just mounted, it comes on with the side lights on the baler, or you know, when you switch the side lights on the tractor. It's mounted in there. It's a little hella light I bought on Amazon, and shines light in there. Great job. Even in this, when you're baling hay or straw and in really sunny conditions, it does the same job. It lights everything up. Through the dust you'll see it. So very, very simple thing, and yeah, very useful. So yeah, we'll get this finished for tonight. Yeah, there's dew will be starting to fall now shortly. Like it's just after 9. It's probably just starting to fall. So we'll bale another row, maybe a couple of rows, and that's it then for tonight. We'll get the last finished then tomorrow. Alright, so a little bit of footage of the square baler here in action. We wanted to get some of our square bales done and dusted out of the way at this point. The plan was to get some of them done in this field, and when we cut the remaining bit of our winter barley next week, we'll get the rest of them done then. So just not to have them all coming at the one time, because we put in around 1,300, 1,400 square bales every year, and there's a bit of rooting and work with them to get them in. So if you can spread it out over, you know, do some of them now this week and do the rest of them next week, it's a wee bit better. You're not busted putting them all in at the one time. So hence why we want to get some of them done and dusted now. Plus we have some customers as well that buys them. They're very handy, small square bales. I know I say this every year, but they are very handy. Like if you have 50 of them there in the shed, or 30 of them or 40 of them in the shed, to be able to go and grab one, whether it's hay or straw, if you have a sick animal, or you just want a cow calved, or something that you just want to bed, a pen or a stable or a shed quickly, you just grab a bale, you can bed it quickly, and they're just handy to have a few of them. There's rooting and work with them, but they are handy. We like them because for the diet feed, they just work well. You know, if you pop a couple of them in, 3 of them in, you know, you've got roughly 50 kilos or 60 kilos of straw, and you know you can work it out fairly easily for the amount of straw then that you want per head, per animal, and it just works easy. Plus they're slightly chopped as well out of the square baler, so it mixes well with your silage or your mixed ration. round baling, just trying to get that done as well. As many as we can now at this point, because as I mentioned, there is some rain on the way, and yeah, we make some good progress and get plenty of them done. There is a little bit that's left over, which we finished the following day, and there was no issues with that. We got all that done. The other field, we had one other field of straw, which we were making the big square bales, and the rain come a little bit early. We were over, square baler man was on the way, and it just started to spit rain on Friday evening, so we cancelled it. It's not the end of the world. Some rain coming now over the weekend, and we'll get it done and dusted next week. And yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of leave it. I have other bits of footage, and I'll put them onto it like a part 2, loading bales and some other stuff like that. I'll put them onto a round 2 next week, and I'll maybe incorporate maybe some big square bale or footage whenever that's done, and some other stuff like that. So this will be harvest part 1, and we'll have a harvest part 2 then next week. And in part 2 then I'll go through the yields as well. I'll tell you what yields we had in each of the fields that we cut, and how it's done, and go through all that. So that is it for this part of the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, hit the sub button. You remember, it doesn't cost you anything to hit the sub button, but it does help the channel along. And also hit the like button or comment down below. I'd very much appreciate that, because it does help the channel in different ways and helps the algorithm. So if you can do that, I'd be very grateful. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Part 2, as I say, will be next week. And until then, enjoy the last part of the video, and we'll see you then.
We'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. See the horizon turn